Coming up on The Shield, WVUR sits down with President Heckler for a live 30-minute interview.
And the Valpo campus is alive with Christmas spirit, and VUTV was there to capture some of the festivities on campus.
Well, the flurries that we've seen today, they will taper off into this evening, and we'll be seeing some seasonable temperatures into the next few days. But will we see a warm-up for the weekend? I'll have your details in just a few minutes, but right now you're watching The Shield on VUTV.
And thank you for joining us here on The Shield. I'm Brendan Johnson.
And I'm Aimee Heyden.
And last Wednesday, WVUR's General Manager Olivia Adams and News Director Andrew Whitmire sat down with Valparaiso University President Mark Heckler for a 30-minute live conversation. The interview included several topics affecting campus life here at Valpo, including upcoming campus Christmas events.
After last year's very harsh winter and the looming approach of a probably worse winter, how is the university prepared to handle this year's weather?
Aren't you an optimist?
I'm
an optimist,
I know, these
Olivia.
are some pessimistic questions.
Do we have a bunch of pessimists out there?
I guess
Have you
so.
all written too many papers this year? Is that what's happened to you?
I mean, I felt safe last year, so I'm sure the university is doing all they
I've
can
blotted
do.
last winter out of my mind, and I
know.
recommend you all do the same.
Oh, gosh.
It was a really rough winter. Oh, my gosh. I mean, I don't think in the university's history we've canceled classes because it was cold. So that's a good indicator about last year. Now here's the debate going on. I talk to people all over the country about this pretty regularly. In fact, I just did yesterday. I was in Florida and I had this conversation. So the Farmer's Almanac says that the weather's going to be worse than last year.
Mm-hmm.
The meteorologists say that the weather's not going to be as bad as last year because of the water and temperature patterns out in the Pacific with El Nino. I'm looking right down the hall, right toward the meteorology department, okay? I'm going to trust the scientists on this one and not the farmers.
They know their stuff.
Right? Although the farmers are out there measuring the caterpillars, and there is something to be said about that. So all knocking around aside, we built some new facilities to house a lot more salt. Because really for Valpo, the real issue, I think plowing, we do a pretty good job. You know, we'll cancel classes if we can't get those parking lots open because we have a significant number of commuters that come in and the faculty and the staff. But we also have so many of you that live on campus. We got to keep you occupied and keep you moving forward and not having you sit there if we can help it. But we've added more salt. We've got more salt storage. You can see we've already got the salt bins out in all of the stairwells. I think we're fully prepared. Our equipment is in good shape, and we've done some regrading, especially to deal with some continuing water issues. People that live in Warenberg know that all pretty well, and I think we had one final incident and this fall, and that's it. There will be no more rain in Warenberg Hall. I have a feeling I'm going to be out there with a mop. But I think we're in pretty good shape there. So just know that we need you all to help us keep track of conditions. It's really helpful for us to know from folks that are out walking on campus if there's a bad spot out there and we need to get some sand down, or we got to get things salted, or we've got to do a plow around. Just keep us posted on that. And the facilities management people are the folks to let know, or the VUPD, just so we're just keeping the campus safe for everybody.
And in case you missed it, the full interview will air Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. right here on VUTV.
And to kick off the holiday season, Valpo hosted its annual tree lighting ceremony in front of the Christopher Center this past Thursday.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The tree lighting is seen as the kickoff to the holiday season here on campus, topped off with music from the choir. Students and faculty counted down to the lighting of the Christmas tree. Following the tree lighting ceremony, the night was capped off with fireworks and a special appearance from Santa Claus himself.
And over the weekend, hundreds of Valpo community members gathered at the Chapel of the Resurrection for the annual Christmas concert entitled A Carol Festival. Valpo's orchestra, concert band, and choral groups joined together for a remarkable holiday performance. Now, what sets this performance apart from others is the audience participation in a few of those selections, and not to mention the one-of-a-kind venue. Well, in the Philippines, we could see more heavy rain from Typhoon Hagput, adding fear of flash flooding and mudslides. But what is your Valpo weather forecast shaping up to be? Well, we have Will Haenni joining us now for a first look at your Storm Shield weather forecast. Will?
We had a dreary day yesterday. If you remember, this is what it was looking like pretty much across campus with some overcast skies. It was a rainy day, and we even saw some frozen precipitation mixed in. The good news is that's pretty much done for the next week. Today, we're expecting a high of 37 degrees with a low of 30, and that's right around par with where we should be this time of year. And those temperatures will stick around for the remainder of this week. I'll have all those details and more coming up after the break.
Good morning, Valparaiso University. What's the better way to start your day than with a new jam? And WVUR has just what you need.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it... If Daniel won't change your mind, baby,
Broadcasting sports, news, weather, and music on air, online, and on campus. WVUR is my jam.
For over 100 years, VU has trusted the torch for reliable and accurate accounts of campus happenings. And with an end of a century, we would like to say thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Valpo.
We have been covering stories that will impact you both in print and online. For Players Spotlight and next week events, to the opinions you have, count on us as Valpo's most reliable source for campus happenings. 4-time winner of College Weekly of the Year, The Torch, home of the truth, celebrating 100 years of excellence in journalism.
Welcome back to The Shield. The Philippine capital of Manila could see even more heavy rain as Typhoon Hagput moves across the country. The fear of flash flooding and mudslides is growing. With the storm came widespread power outages, and at least 2 people have been killed due to the typhoon. CNN reporter Aimee Motion reports.
Still hundreds of kilometers away, Typhoon Hagput alerted Legazpi of its arrival. Like an unwanted guest late Saturday night, it banged at the windows, the wind howling as it neared. Sunday morning, and Typhoon Ruby, as it's known locally, was passing through the Albay province, sweeping south of Legazpi. These people have lived through many storms, but the fear of death and destruction doesn't diminish. We came here because our house is near the sea, this lady tells me. I'm afraid that the house might be blown away, and we have babies. We're so scared because the wind is strong and the waves are high. Pilar and 13 members of her family, who all live in the same home, have chosen not to take any risks and come to this school-turned-evacuation centre. There are no beds or chairs, just a concrete floor, and more importantly, a solid roof over their heads. I am worried. I'm thinking about my children and grandchildren. They're so young, that's why we're here, Pilar says. It's so hard for me because every typhoon damages our home. We don't have the money to fix it. Many men, the heads of the household, chose to stay in their homes rather than evacuate. This man tells me he doesn't want to leave his property empty for looters and criminals. If it gets really bad, I'll go to my neighbours, he says. This city of 200,000 people has turned into a relative ghost town. We saw the odd person out and about, or children playing in the rain. But by and large, families chose to stay indoors or move to evacuation centres inland, which has helped keep them safe. Fishermen stayed out of the water and locals didn't come to the beach. But there's always one. The water is incredibly choppy and the wind very powerful, and it's coming in at great speed. But what's more worrying is the fact that the storm is moving incredibly slowly, bringing in these driving sheets of rain. They're hitting my face like hundreds of pins. It's so powerful. But look at that over there. That's not fog, that's not mist. That is thick rain, and that brings with it a fear of a lot of flooding. Last year's Typhoon Haiyan, known here as Yolanda, taught painful lessons.
There are 128,217 vulnerable families, and they are right now in more than 3,000 safe shelters. Because of the phobia, Yolanda phobia, I think it's easier to convince people to move to safe shelters.
Flooding, a storm surge and landslides are all major concerns here. Typhoon Ruby's brush past Legazpi is no gentle touch.
A small private jet crashed into a house Monday in suburban Washington, killing at least 3 people and damaging 3 homes, authorities said. The 3 people killed were in an Embraer EMB 500 Phenom 100 twin-engine jet that was on approach to nearby Montgomery County Park, an airport for small private planes about 20 miles north of the nation's capital, according to the Federal Aviation Administration. A 4th person may have been on board at the time of the crash. The corporate jet, which is registered to Sage Aviation of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, seats up to 10 people. The jet crashed into a 2-story wood-framed home, setting it and an adjacent home on fire around 11:45 Monday morning. A 3rd home also was damaged in the crash. The crash is still under investigation by local police and fire, along with the FAA.
Streets in Philadelphia were more congested than normal this past Sunday following the Eagles football game. Hundreds of protesters slowed traffic by staging a die-in protest outside the stadium. KYW's Matt Rivers reports.
The game ended and hundreds laid down. A die-in, protesters called it, in the shadow of Lincoln Financial Field. Moments earlier, they aired their concerns.
We live in a city that has for years and years have been involved in brutality.
They lay in the street for 4.5 minutes in honor of Michael Brown, the unarmed teenager killed by police who lay dead on a Ferguson, Missouri street for 4.5 hours after being shot. Tonight's gathering focused broadly on what organizers called police brutality.
Police officers who take the lives of black children for granted and who say that those lives don't matter.
Chanting as they rose from the ground, protesters blocked traffic onto 76 for a few more minutes before heading back to the sidewalk. But other streets remained closed, shut down by police as they steered tens of thousands of fans leaving the game around the protest. Officials were pleased at how it turned out.
People have the right to their opinions, and they have the right to protest. That's what this country is founded on, and we have the obligation to protect everybody.
There was some anger amidst people leaving the stadium. Eagles post-game traffic isn't good on its best day, and the protest did make the congestion worse. Still, there was patience among those we spoke to.
Doesn't seem any different than usual, I guess. For the most part, everybody knew it was coming. You know, we were right there for it.
Protesters say the die-in at a major event is a way to force an issue into the spotlight, creating a broader awareness they claim is crucial if any change is to happen.
A New Hampshire church is scrambling to replace stolen Christmas presents after someone broke into the church last week. As police investigate, church volunteers are working overtime to make sure kids still get their presents this Christmas. WMUR's Adam Sexton reports.
Every holiday season since the late 1990s, St. Matthew's Church in Whitefield sets up a giving tree to gather Christmas presents for those in need.
We just collect gifts every December for families who would go without otherwise in the community, for seniors, and it's become a real established tradition in our parish.
But someone with Grinch-like tendencies broke into the church rectory on Friday, cutting open presents and taking gift cards, a digital camera, and toys.
And I literally got tears in my eyes.
I just felt like my heart just sank. I couldn't believe it.
This weekend, the St. Matthew's Catholic Women's Group is busy rewrapping gifts that were torn open and left behind, then trying to figure out who was supposed to get them.
The tags were separated from all the presents. We had no idea what was left and what wasn't.
Whoever stole the gifts also tried to break into the church sacristy. You can see they caused significant damage to the lock on the door, but they were not able to get inside.
Fortunately, nothing was missing there.
When the church first put up the giving tree nearly 2 decades ago, it kept the gifts under the tree, but a theft prompted them to move the presents to the more secure rectory. Now what's left after this break-in is being transferred to an undisclosed location. As far as what was stolen, church volunteers plan to replace it, although people can still make donations.
If they wanted to, that's always accepted. But if they don't, we're going to find a way of getting it done.
People up here are awesome. They just step right up again and help, and that's what Christmas is all about.
In Whitefield, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
And finally, talk about the Christmas spirit. One Ohio man created a light display that just may rival the Christmas display seen in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Bob Mangan loves the Christmas season, and his 45,000 light display is certainly evidence of that. The outside of the home might seem crazy, but the inside of Mangan's home is just as decked out. The inside holds a forest of Christmas cheer with 29 trees decking the halls, along with plenty of garland and blinking lights. As well as his over-the-top display dates back 15 years. Mangan said it makes him happy when people come out to see it.
And we have one of those people back in our town. But just ahead, Storm Shield meteorologist Will Haenni will be back with a look at your full Valpo weather forecast. Stay with us.
On a campus plagued with terrible weather, Valpo students suffer from boredom with no motivation to leave their room. They begin to search for free movies and stumble upon Valpo's new free movie streaming website, where you get unlimited free access to recent movies like Despicable Me 2 and Jobs at the tips of your fingers. So if you're feeling bored, then don't wait. Grab some friends, find a seat, and enjoy a movie on movies.valpo.edu.
And now your dependable and accurate weather forecast with meteorologist Will Haenni.
Well, I wanted to start by just taking a quick look back at the past few days. And we have been seeing temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. Saturday, 39 was our high, Sunday, 37, and yesterday, Monday, was a little bit dreary out there with a high of 35. Well, today, that trend continues. We'll still be in the 30s. We'll see a high of 37 degrees and a low of 30 degrees. Now, that is pretty typical for this time of year. Our highs should be right around the 35-degree mark for this time of year, so that's nice to see. Those flurries that we've been seeing all day today, those will be tapering off by this evening. Well, here's what's driving the weather we're seeing here in Valpo. We have a low pressure system up to our northeast over there above Michigan, and that's bringing this cold front way down there. And now this blue temperature that you're seeing, that's actually air cold enough for snow. So as you can see, by Tuesday evening, this model is still predicting just a little bit of a flurry north of or south of Chicago, and as you can see, we're still in that cold air, cold enough for snow. Well, as this advances, we're going to see that low pressure system move to east, and behind it is this high pressure, and that's going to drive our weather for the later portion of this week. Well, our model Tuesday at 6 o'clock, picking up on just some trace flurries remaining in the Valpo region, and as I advance this forward, all of these clouds just move south, and they're going to start to clear up. Wednesday night, though, overnight, we might see the chance for a flurry here or there, but for the most part, I think they're going to be dying off by your evening hours tonight. And as you can see, by Thursday evening, we're going to start to clear up just a little bit. Some trace clouds still remaining here in Valpo, but definitely by Thursday, it's very clear here in Valpo. Now, temperature-wise, we'll be sitting right around 33 degrees here in Valpo. By Tuesday evening at around 11 o'clock, we'll drop overnight to 30 degrees. And as you can see, very standard for this entire region. Up there in Green Bay, they're a little bit colder in the mid-20s. But we will warm on Wednesday to 34 degrees. Well, today, expect temperatures right around 34 degrees at 6 o'clock tonight. Those flurries, as I mentioned, will be sticking around, but they will taper off by around 10 o'clock. Expect a temperature of 32 degrees. Flurries will be ending with a north wind at 10 miles per hour. It'll be cloudy tomorrow morning with a north wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And by tomorrow afternoon, expect that high of 34 degrees. Now for your 5-day forecast, shaping up to be pretty standard for this time of year, as I mentioned, and very seasonable. Wednesday, 34 degrees, a high for your high, 36 degrees on Thursday, 39 Friday. And by the weekend, we are actually back into the 40s. So if you like snow, this isn't maybe the best forecast, but it's definitely, you can't complain when we're going to be seeing a lot of stress this coming week.
Exactly. Kind of makes it a little bit better that it's not going to be freezing while we're all just stuck inside. And
definitely.
It's going to be a little, but at the same time, it's kind of harder. Once it gets nice outside, you don't want to spend it inside studying. You want to be outside actually enjoying it before it's gone.
That's true.
Well, at least we're thankful we don't have that sloshy weather that we did. You know, everyone is bunkering down for, finals, and we just have to deal with that cold rain and blown in your face, and we just really don't want to deal with that. So I guess I could say we can take this over, over that. So good news there.
Exactly. Well, thanks, Will. And we have a lot to cover in ValpoAthletics. Tommy Mantice will join us right after the break to recap a very busy weekend for the Crusaders. Stay with us for the full details.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dick Vitale of ESPN, and I'm on VUTV. It's awesome, baby, with a capital A.
And joining us now with sports is Tommy Mantice. And Tommy, we saw a busy weekend for the Crusaders, not the most successful weekend. What can you tell us?
It was a really good weekend just in general for the basketball programs. They saw really good competition come to the Arc, and it was fun to see. Like you said, though, Aimee, it was a really tough one on Saturday as the Crusaders teams both lost a really quality competition. Let's start with the men's team. They really couldn't find the bottom of the net in the biggest game of the season, which led to a 63-46 loss to New Mexico. The teams traded punches throughout the first half. The Crusaders fought very well early on. Following the Fernandez dunk early on in the first half, the Crusaders went really cold, going scoreless for the next 4 minutes as the Lobos pulled ahead by 6 at the 5:04 mark. Valpo would make it a one-possession game once again with 3:42 left in the first half on a 3 by Keith Carter, but would not score for the remainder of the half. New Mexico ended the first half on a 7-0 run and took a 30-20 lead going into the locker room. But Valpo was, getting ready for the second half, and they did get it into the single digits a couple times in the second half, but they just could not sustain momentum to cut further into the Lobos' advantage. Junior Darian Walker hit a 3 with 16:20 to go in the second half to make it a 36-27 game. But New Mexico's Xavier Adams answered with a 3 within the next 18 seconds. Crusaders' final burst came around the midway point of the second half. They're trailing 45-31. Valpo pieced together a 10-4 run over a 4-minute span with a pair of threes and a three-pointer from junior Victor Nickerson, bringing the Crusaders within 49-41 with 8 minutes and 13 seconds to go. But with the crowd on its feet, urging the Valpo defense on, Lobos' Tim Jacobs knocked down a tough runner in the lane, and the Crusaders, following with a miss, Hugh Greenwood nailed a 3 to break the on the break to slam the door on a potential comeback. No player on the Crusaders side scored more than 10 points. The Crusaders will host Trinity International on Wednesday at the Arc. Well, the Valpo women's team played earlier that day and were looking to stop their 3-game losing streak, this one against Tulsa. Unfortunately, the losing streak would continue as Tulsa blew out the Crusaders by a score of 87-63. Tulsa shattered its school record with 15 threes. Valpo had 4 players finish in double figures, including Jasmine Walker, who contributed with 16 points and 9 rebounds. Tulsa's first 9 points came via the triple. Haley Thompson did her part to counter the Golden Hurricane, the Hurricane's deep barrage. Thompson recorded 8 points of her first 14 in the first 6.5 minutes. As was the case for much of the afternoon, Tulsa responded as soon as the Crusaders drew within striking distance. A Caden Brady three-pointer expanded the lead to 9 points. An Abby Jean jumper and a pair of Walker free throws cut the deficit to 5, but Antoinette Webster buried a 3 from the corner to push the Tulsa advantage back to 8. The Golden Hurricane went into a halftime break score with a 41-29 lead. They sunk 8 of their first 16 attempts from beyond the arc, and the second half was a similar story, the same way. Valpo made it a 2-possession game several times over the course of the closing period, but Tulsa had an answer every time. 6 Tulsa players recorded multiple three-pointers as the Golden Hurricanes set a school record in triples on 15 of 31 attempts. On the flip side, the Crusaders found the bottom of the net just 4 times on 20 tries from three-point land. Walker set a new season record with 16 points with 9 boards. Freshman was 6 of 8 from inside the arc. Thompson was 6 of 11. She finished with 14. Danny Franklin had 10, and also Lexi Miller had 10 as well. And finally, it was a really good day for the women's midfielder, Rita Craven. I can't believe we're still talking about soccer, but it was such an incredible season. She finds herself in lofty company on Friday as she was named the All-NSCAA third team All-American, with just 37 players in the nation to earn All-American honors. Craven is the first Crusader in program history to earn All-American accolades, and is one of the just 3 players all time from the current Horizon League programs to receive the nation's top honor. Craven, who recorded her first team All Great Lakes region recognition earlier this week, was a standout on both sides of the ball for the Crusaders during her junior campaign. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Tommy. What an exciting weekend there. Well, after the break, Will is back for a last look at your Valpo weather forecast. Stick with us.
What makes VU Science Olympiad so special to me is that it's really an amazing opportunity that brings literally hundreds of middle and high school students to campus to pursue their passion for science.
There are different events focused on biology, chemistry, physics, and also some engineering type events where they build things and bring them to the competition to test them. So it's great for students to learn more about the sciences, get involved.
Interested in the television industry? Stop by our office in Schnabel Hall and join VUTV today.
And joining us in studio for a final time is Will Haenni. And Will, we talked about it earlier. It's going to get a little warmer. What can we kind of expect for our last week here?
Well, very seasonable temperatures for the rest of this week, and we're not going to be seeing a whole lot of precipitation, which is fortunate if you hated yesterday. Tonight, expect a temperature of around 30 degrees overnight. That's our overnight low. The flurries that we saw today, those are going to end, and it's overall going to just clear up. With a north wind at 10 miles per hour, though, you definitely got to account for that when you're going outside. Tomorrow, expect a high of 34 degrees. It'll be mostly clear by the afternoon hours with a north wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour. So again, wear a jacket because you're going to want that with that wind. Well, here's your 5-day forecast. One last look. As you can see, by the weekend, we're going to be warming up back into the 40s, which is above average for this time of year for sure. And as you can see, no rain. So if you're like me, I like a little snow on the ground this time of year. I think it kind of adds to my holiday cheer a little bit. If you're anything like me, I mean, this is kind of a sad forecast. But overall, we can't complain. No dreary weather. So definitely nice for this time of year.
And you know, it's kind of nice, though, if you're busy studying all day, you need a good break. At least you can go outside and enjoy the weather, come back in and do a little more studying, and you don't have to deal with just being stuck in your room, just studying all day long.
Definitely.
A little bit of procrastination might actually help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it too early to start looking for a white Christmas? Are we a little early in the game?
It's still a little bit in La La Land forecast, but.
All right.
Yes.
All right. And before we sign off tonight, we want to extend our deepest wishes for Brendan, who will be leaving us at the end of the semester to study abroad. Brendan, where are you going?
I am going to Cambridge, England. We're going to have such fun over there, taking 15 credits, just getting away before we come back junior year for meteorology. Full force for the next 2 years. So it'll be fun.
We're definitely going to miss you. For those of you who don't know, Brendan is kind of like my right-hand man, his assistant news director. Him and I work as a team together, and it's going to be a big loss for me. But we're super excited for him, and a lot of our former staff have gone off to Cambridge, so it should be a good time for you, and we'll look back for you back in the fall next school year. And that's how we're going to wrap this one up. I'm Aimee Heyden.
And I'm Brendan Johnson for Will, Tommy, and all of us here at VUTV. Good luck on your finals, and we'll see you back here in January. Happy holidays.